Good morning, good morning. These are the pages, there are 20 pages of yours truly performance of the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, of which September 29th of this year, 2022, I've performed, successfully completed 300 of the session of my own creative workout training program, and I've officially turned the A of my surname into a no by having performed 300, which of course now I've done more than 300. I've done 309. I'm continuing to work out, train, exercise. I encourage people to work out, to train, to exercise. And working out, training, exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. I want to say that I'm auctioning these pages. So you can see here at the beginning, that is the first time that I've did my workout training program, the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the Dragon Army workout, aka the 300 workout, which I've created right in this underground room of St. Timberlands. Wasn't in on a fitness journey and lost more than 77 pounds up to this moment in time. I was depressed, suicidal a few years ago, and no longer am. I've conquered depression. I've conquered depression. I've conquered depression. I do admit I woke up a bit moody this morning. Started doing things, washing my face, doing a little bit of this, putting coffee, cleaning the floors, writing a poem, one of the best poetry if you want to hear it. It's about a spider, creepy crawling spider, crawls slowly, crawls to the east, crawls to the north. Does he know that he crawls north or south, or up and down, or for him up is down, and for us the down is up? The spider life, a spider's life, a spider's life. Creepy crawls and crawls about my room and office, unattended, unaware that it's the temple of the goddess. And that was the poem, short and sweet poem, but I've recited it in yours truly. Now you can use it printed. Give credit, Adrian H. Dragonborn, being reborn, Adrian Hanna Dragon, if thou wilt. And this is the 300 pages, the 300 sessions I'm in. Is not 300 pages, is let's count the pages of my 300 challenge. Of course, the original was called the Dragon Fit, and the official name of the workout is the General War Integrated Total Body Training System. Those 7 words: General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the Dragon Army workout, is also known as the Dragon Army workout, or the 300 workout, of which the rules are simple and effective and efficient. And I'm proud to have created this workout training program, which increases general overall fitness. What my workout does, it increases general overall fitness. And these are all the pages which I've written by hand. As you can see here, the first time, date 1. Well, the first time that I've done it is October 17, 2019. October 17, 2019. October 17, 2019 was the first one that I've done. You see me counting all the numbers until, because you got to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks, and you see there it says hawks, push-ups, and squats. It doesn't matter the order, but of course I've kept the order of my own. But the rules are simple, effective, and efficient, and these are the rules. I'm going to go over the rules now. Just going to take a cup of coffee before some coffee with yours truly, Dragon, who born dragon, became dragon, born dragon, became dragon, born dragon, became dragon. By successfully having completed 300 sessions of my own creative workout training program, I've set out to do 300 to see how the fitness will go, and it seems that it still increases general overall fitness even after the first cycle of the 300. It is efficient, simple, and effective. It requires no equipment whatsoever, and it increases general overall fitness. So these are the rules of the General War Integrated Body Training System. You got 93 minutes, that's an hour and a half, to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and 100 hawks. 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and 100 hawks. Those are the rules of my workout. 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and 100 hawks. 13 repetitions maximum per set are allowed, 3 minimum, anywhere in between 7, 6, 5, 9 until you get to the required amount of 100. So you can do 7, 5, 6, 9, whatever the number is. Between each set, whether you do push-ups, squats, or hawks, in whatever order, because there's no prescribed order. The rules are simple, just like hockey has rules, football has rules, basketball has rules, so does my workout have rules, and they're defined by the 4 numbers defining the 4 rules. The whole amount of time to do is 93. You got 93 minutes total time allocated to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. That trinity, push-ups, hawks, squats, 100 for each. 13 repetitions maximum per set, 3 minimum. Anywhere in between, 7, 6, 5, 9, 10, whatever the number is in between. You can do it in whatever order you want to do it, 7, 6, 5, 9, whatever the number is, until you get to 13, until you get to 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. So that trinity in whatever order. You can do hawks first, finish the hawks, do the push-ups first, or vice versa, do half the push-ups, then half the squats, or do a few push-ups between 13 or 13 and 3, maximum 13, minimum 3. So anywhere in between, 7, 6, 9, 10. You got to calculate until you get to 100. And there's a minimum required of a minimum of 31 seconds of marching or jogging or running or walking fast pace in between. In between each set. So whether you do the push-ups, the hawks, the squats, in whatever order you do them, there's a dot requirement, which is a requirement for the workout to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. 93 minutes, 13 and 3, they go together, the rules. 31 is, of course, the amount of seconds necessary required of marching or jogging or running or walking fast pace in between sets. So 4 main rules, 4 main numbers. 93 for how much time is the total allocated time for to complete the workout, to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and 100 hawks, which is 93 minutes. 13 and 3, they go together for the maximum amount of repetitions per set allowed, which is 13 maximum or 3 minimum. You can do any amount in between, or you can do 13 and 3 and change it every time until you get to 100. And there's a minimum requirement of 31 seconds of marching or jogging or running fast pace in between. Those are the rules: 93, 13 and 3, and 31. Defining by those numbers, those are the defined rules. You can do a multiple of combination, just like a game of gridiron, North American football, CFL, Canadian Football League, NFL, or NBA, National Basketball League, or NHL, National Hockey League. It's different every time, right? Sometimes it might have common denominators with the common rules of hockey, for example, 5 versus 5, or football, 11 versus 11, with fouls, with plays, with defense, offense, with puck, stick, whatever the rules are of hockey, of basketball. And just so does my workout have those rules, which are defined by those. When I've created 300, I've done more than 300. No, these are the pages, see, I've written by hand. So we're going to go over the pages. The 300 challenge, see, the squats, the hawks. So the first performance was October 17, 2019. That was the first. And I've done it, and of course I got proof of work. I got hundreds of videos, hundreds of workout videos, of which have performed in my underground room office and temple, of which have performed in my underground room office and temple, of which have performed in my underground room, office, and temple. And this is one page written reverse, verse and reverse, written on both sides. So it's written on both sides, it's written on both sides. See, there on one side and the other, and there on the other side and the other one. See, 1 page, 2 pages, let's see, 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages, 5 pages, 6 pages, 7 pages, 8 pages, 9 pages, 10 pages, all fully written, see, by hand. 10, 11, see, 12, 13. The special ones, when it's written special, I've done them in the either outside, and they're more longer ones. They're longer ones. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and there's the 20. So 20 pages. This is goes to the dragon becoming dragon, dragon becoming dragon, dragon becoming dragon. So doing these 300 sessions with a lot of philosophical interjections while doing the workouts, and some art and some poetry and some rap, channeling and sublimating, whatever it is. It's my philosophy, my king philosophy is channeling and sublimating and channeling, whatever it is, frustration, anger, being upset, or aggression. It has to be channeled and sublimated, channeling and sublimated to Activities such as this workout training program, of which I am very proud to have created. I'm looking for volunteer support to the Dragon app, Dragon Army workout app, Dragon workout app. And as it's 11:37 here a.m. in the morning in Hawk Island, Montreal, 11:37 in the morning a.m. 11:37 in the morning. Please, please, please. If you make $1 million on the stock market today, buy, sell, trade stocks, futures, options, puts, commodities, pork bellies, future contracts, options, small, penny stocks, dollar stocks, big, $50, $100 stocks. You buy, sell, trade, make $1 million on the stock market, profit today. Please, please, please give 10% of that. 1 million, which equates to 100,000. Divide that 100,000, which is 10% of $1 million, divided by 4, and give 25,000 to food security, 25,000 for women's sports leagues, 25,000 for LGBTQ youth services, and 25,000 for the environment. Environmental causes, let's say to plant a tree for every tree. And this is food security, of course, because everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. Everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. Everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. So I'm gonna raise the cup of coffee. I'm gonna thank you, love you, kiss you, send some big dragon hugs to farmers of North America. I'm gonna say send big dragon hugs to the farmers of North America, here Canada, Québec, de la belle province. Les fermiers, je vous aime, gros câlins du dragon. Les gros câlins du dragon pour les fermiers de la belle province. Des gros câlins du dragon pour les fermiers de la belle province. For the farmers of the belle province, the big dragon hugs. That I'm sending big dragon hugs to the farmers of Quebec and Canada, and of course North America. As a geopolitical analyst and theorist, I will say I'm a Quebecer, Canadian, North American, although I've as a universal spiritual teaching student, I believe in many past lives, many incarnations, of which I've lived many, from the ancient Egypt by the Nile to the ancient Sumeria by the Euphrates to ancient India by the Ganges and Danube in ancient Rome. And right here, I was born a few lifetimes, a few incarnations right on this island one time. In another incarnation, I've helped Louis push some horses on a cart. Dans une autre vie, Louis Cyr a poussé les chevaux sur une calèche. So it is a discussion today, Coffee with Drum. I'm going to do a special reading discussion, but first I want to quickly discuss my CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, Debt Refusion Theory, and Democratic Fusion Theory, which I'm calling the implementation thereof in order to create the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions of the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragon Army, to be complementary and covenant with the International Integrated Dance League, aka the Dancing Goddess Army. That trinity of theories, CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, Debt Refusion Theory. So let it be known that I'm auctioning these papers. I'm auctioning these papers. Here. So my CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, Debt Refusion Theory, and Democratic Fusion Theory to create the two complementary covenant institution. First and foremost, we're going to have the Debt Refusion Theory. So Debt Refusion Theory, simply put, is taking all private and public debt of citizens of the nation state, Canada, and beyond, North American collective civilization, and NATO member countries, NATO, with my protocol Genesis 33, after that story of the twins kissing and embracing, Israel as well, and taking all public and private debt and refusing it, and creating what I call the currency called the UE, or the Universal Exchange Unit. The UE stands for Universal Exchange Unit, U.E. U. Calling my astrological brother Bill Gates, Astro Bro Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk, and all governments and public-private partnership in order to support my implementation of my Trinity of Theories ASAP as an independent artist, independent athlete, independent activist, and geopolitical analyst and theorist and philosopher. I do firmly believe, and I do admit, of course, that I am not without flaws, not without getting moody or upset, but I'm grateful at the same time that my rent's paid here. It's October 18th, 2022. It's 11:41 a.m. in the morning, and my main message, what I will say, what I will do, the reading from this dictionary is with consent today, or when you listen to my, if you're an ally and army, pledge your allegiance, legions. If you're an ally and army, pledge your allegiance, legions. An ally and army, pledge your allegiance, legions. Please, with consent and hygiene, hug today like you never hugged before. With consent, of course, and hygiene, mutual understanding and love. Consent, make LOV, because otherwise what are we fighting to save civilization for if somebody's not going to make love today? It's a good open question. Because love is, in my philosophy, love is also action. Love is also action. Sure, I have love, different rainbow loves, and loves for XYZ, loves for a good coffee, love for a good hug, love for a good philosophy, love for a good workout. I love working out, training, exercising is has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. I encourage everybody to work out, train, exercise, and please, 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 hygiene in public. Wash your hands with soap and water when you step outside, because when we step outside, my brothers and sisters, we also have an added dimension, and that added dimension is a responsibility, duty, and obligation at this moment in time for hygiene, public hygiene, for public hygiene, for public hygiene. Because there's microbes, bacteria, and germs. There's microbes, bacteria, and germs. There's these bacteria, microbes, and germs, and we gotta wash the hands with soap and water and hand sanitizer with hand sanitizer. I'm triple vaccinated myself. I encourage people to get vaccinated. It seems that a new wave of COVID has begun. I had COVID 3 times. The first time was the hardest hit. It was very, it's like I thought I was gonna die. In many ways, I did die during COVID. Personally, there's nothing that I want to go back to pre-COVID lifetimes. As a matter of fact, I am calling for the implementation of my Trinity of theories, and my call is, of course, for us in North America and beyond to move towards a post-COVID economic, philosophical, social, political, financial, commercial, and spiritual system for pleasure and purpose. Fundamentally, my dream called the Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom is my call for us to move towards a post-COVID economic, social, financial, political, spiritual, ecological, and commercial system, political system for pleasure and purpose. Purpose to attain harmony between civilization and nature, and pleasure for the body to. My philosophy is that this body is a temple for pleasure and purpose, and how do we invest in the body? By XYZ activities, by taking good care of it, by XYZ, whatever it's good for us. For myself, the investment is working out, training, exercising, and have been and will call for the mass financing of people to work out, to train, and to exercise. As I believe working out, training, and exercising can be, is, and will be medicine and therapy for many, as I believe it can be for a lot of people, for XYZ amount of people, but it is for me, it is for me, it is for me. Working out, training, exercising is great for the mental health, for the mind, body, and soul. And whenever I feel XYZ moody, when I get my workout, training, exercise, I always feel much better getting some good sweat and invest in the body. So, because the body, for me, my philosophy is that the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. Pleasure for to receive and give pleasure, to receive and give pleasure in XYZ ways, with consent, of course, and whatever it is. And to my allies and armies today, my messages, and you listen to all my videos, whatever dance, workout, when I philosophize, my main messages with consent, y'all hug during the whole duration of the workout. Well, sometimes it's more than an hour and a half long workouts, overtime workouts, training programs. So you're hugging for an hour. You gotta take some breaks in between. Do like the NFL quarters. 1 quarter of football is 15 minutes times 4. Pause it. Or like NHL, National Hockey League, is 20 minutes the period. So 20 minutes of hugging, then pause 5 minutes, then 20 minutes again, then pause. LOV, love is action, and if somebody's not making love today, what are we fighting to save civilization for? Stock market, multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires, they already got their pay. Artists established, y'all been making millions for decades. Let some other artists eat, you know. And we hungry too. We hungry too, man. We're gonna come knocking at your door, eat the rich shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I'm open for business myself 24/7. I've been open for business. I've lost economic, financial, commercial blessings and continuance of contract or what have you due to being LGBTQ. And of course, I call for the global Dragon Union is try to resolve things, face to face. I got this, I got issues. I got also issues like I'm moody, upset. I wish I could afford a good massage therapy. It's too expensive nowadays. I want to get more bacon. I want to eat bacon every week if I can, at least once a week. I'm grateful that I was able to afford buy one in September. Nonetheless, I was able to get a bacon. So thank you, love you. Big dragon hugs to the farmers and the butchers and the bakers and the truckers. Big dragon hugs, and I'm going all across the collective North American civilization to the global Dragon Union, as it's 11:47 a.m. here in the morning. If somebody's not making love today, what are we fighting save civilization for? They're ready to get those ICBM nukes in World War III, Make love today, carpe diem, carpe diem, carpe diem every day. As for me, I fight my own battles if we want. I don't like to argue much. I'm not to argue much. I don't to argue much. I've been to hell and back, rock bottom. I admit my own Lusts, my own hidden fears, my own XYZ. And, fight my own battles. It can be the Pope. My Pope is the sun. It can be the Pope, and you can fight one on one. No need to spy on me, hack me. RCMP, 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 CSIS, NSA, NSA, CS, ISIS, CIA, NSA, NSA, FSB, FSB, former KGB, 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 and the Stasi, Stasi, Stasi. Stasis are gone after 1989, November 9, 1989. As East Germany, notorious secret police. And I am calling for the public-private partnership for the Dragon Army to be. My philosophy is to be the Dragon Army to be integrated with all existing public and private institutions of security and organization, with all public security institutions and organizations to implement my philosophies, such as the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose, love is action, and of course hygiene in public, hygiene in public, hygiene in public. And while we're doing the private, of course, I can turn everything off now, shut everything off, turn the camera off. Nobody watching. Should be a million and 100 million and even a billion to watch this, to say that my allies and armies pledge you allegiance, legion, hug, consent today, or hug with consent today like you never hugged before. Hugs and kisses I got by the trillions I got kisses from the goddess above, who sent one kiss and trickled down into 718 trillions of kisses credited to yours truly, Adrian Hanna, dragon, androgynous, pansexual, founder of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which is really my dream. It is, of course, a social, spiritual, philosophical, even political dream for world peace, international justice, secured and ensured global freedom, which freedom is a double-edged sword, which I admit with my tiny hands is, I admit it's too hard to lift by my solo, and perhaps if I get some help, my sister, and I'm a sister now, so sister, who, if I make a million, I'm gonna give her half after paying my 10,000 debt to the RBC, of course, which I do owe. I'm open for business commission. I'm auctioning this shirt black, jeans black, black socks. Hey, rappers, multi-millions, y'all moved out of the hood, living gated communities, y'all let some dragon rap spit some fire. That was for the farmers, everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. Click and clack. Why you so selfish? Why do you not give to the kids on this whole Halloween? For Halloween, give to the kids, y'all multi-millionaires, really. Or that Super Bowl, let somebody else eat, get some half-half, do some half-pass. You're so selfish, ass. I know. I'm not totally selfless. I try to be balanced in the middle. I want to afford a wine, get a bottle of wine, get some liquor, get some bacon. I'm not totally selfless, but ain't no fucking way that I've been that selfish to have multi-millions in the bank account or not give for the children, or the children's sweets, toys, candies for the Halloween for their joy. Ain't no way. And as sophisticated, as intellectual, as cosmopolitan, as overly intellectual, sometimes it's better to be straightforward and direct, straightforward and direct, straightforward and direct. I blame, sometimes I am straightforward and direct. I blame it of having been an Israeli in a past life, and a lot of, not, I don't like to generalize, but there's a lot of culture shock for Canadians or Americans and Germans when they visit Israel, that it seems that the culture is very rude, but it's not really rudeness. It's more straightforward and direct. Like right now, my rent is paid in full. Fully paid my rent, fully paid my electricity bill, but I'm grateful, thankful that I'm utilizing this energy to brew my coffee, live stream this video on my smartphone, to record this video with clean, zero pollution, zero emission energy, with clean, zero pollution, zero emission energy, with clean, zero pollution, zero emission energy. By thanks to Grasa 63 dams which were built here across this province of Quebec with brains and muscle. They were built with brains and muscle, These 63 dams were built with brains and muscle across this province of Quebec, which not only give to five, I think even six now states in the USA: Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. Clean, zero pollution energy that I'm utilizing. So it's environmentally friendly, Mother Nature. 63 dams across this province of Quebec are across this la belle province. 63 centrales bâties avec des muscles, des cerveaux, du muscle, des cerveaux, and so many who worked. Big Dragon hugs, credit from the past, present, and future workers of Hydro-Quebec. Right? Because it's clean, zero pollution, zero emission. Doesn't pollute. It doesn't pollute at all. It's clean, zero pollution energy. Meditate on that fact for a matter, because building, maintaining, and upgrading civilization has taken some brains and muscle, and will continue to take some brains and some muscle. We have his discontents. I have it. I've been depressed and suicidal, XYZ, my coming out. It's been years ago. My coming out as being part of the LGBTQ community is already a few years past, so it's not so recent and fresh. I've lost economic, financial, commercial opportunity and continuance of contract because, people gossip, gossip, gossip. We slander, we feel mediocre, I myself included. I'm average at some things, I'm so-so at other things. I am mediocre at other things, average, so-so at other things, I admit. While being so-so at some things, average at other things, mediocre at certain things. I am great, super, and excellent at dancing, philosophizing, geopolitical analysis. I'm top. There's scholarly way to intersect and analyze complex geopolitical matters and discern regional affairs in the trade, in the commerce, in the diplomacy. I'm great at that. As a matter of fact, proven by my analysis back in 2019 in October when I have analyzed the situation on a geopolitical sphere, on a geopolitical nature back in 2019, and had come to the conclusion back in 2019 that we humanity, I've sounded the alarm back then, humanity back in 2019, I've said in October, we are again on a path towards another international conflagration, and so created, made, and designed the General War Integrated Body Training System to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario. You heard that right. Got proof of work of that. Proof of work of that. I said, I've analyzed and I admit that I have aggression within myself. I channel and sublimated keywords of my philosophy, whether psychological, social, spiritual, and all dimensions of being, psychological, sexual, psychosexual together. Right? Which we have a subconscious matters and subconscious elements which we're refining. I'm refining on a daily, refining, working on the self and being balanced in harmony with the others. What can I bring? What can I offer? I can offer philosophy, geopolitical analysis, workout training, exercising like no other. Dragon, drop down, give me some push-ups, leaders of the free world. This is the message. So I can do this, I can do that. Wow. As the people's doctor, spend many years reading, educating in libraries, and as I said, I fight my own battles. If somebody wants to put gloves with your story, we can put on gloves. My anonymous sister gifted me some gloves for my match. Continuing my challenge has been years. I'm challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-U.S. border. Dragon's fists are gonna make Trump's nose go like Pinocchio's. Sing that, bro, Kanye, yo, though. As a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist, I firmly believe in the implementation of my Trinity of theories. I'm not totally selfless. As a universal spiritual teaching student, I say the word goddess, 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 G-O-D-D-S-S. I don't claim to have all the answers. I don't know some things. I know XYZ was in a past life in ancient Egypt, met Moses, had a good time. I don't know how the pyramids were built. I don't know. Do you know? I really know nothing. I'm a piece of dust, dancing dust, and lusting dust nonetheless. With some brain and some muscle, with some brain and some muscle, with some brain and some muscle. And wants to love and be loved and take action and break impasse, like my own impasse. I admit I want something. This room office and temple has served its great purpose, and I've written tens of thousands of pages of philosophy, poetry, art, children's books. Not tens of thousands of children's books. I wrote fully 3 children's books with some ideas. I'm looking for a literary agent. I'm looking for a literary agent. Looking for a literary agent, and I am, of course, open for business 24/7. When well, I'm gonna need a day or two to snore in a weekend, but nonetheless, created my own workout training program as an independent fitness captain, as the people's athlete, the people's athlete, the people's athlete. I said to be bitter that I've lost like COVID and before economic, financial, commercial due to being LGBTQ, and the fact that in people gossip. Try to avoid gossip, try to avoid stay forward. Next, myself, I admit I am mediocre at some things, average at other things, so I don't know it all. I know XYZ what I'm good at. I fight my own battles. We can discuss philosophically, go philosophy in a philosophical manner, XYZ. We can philosophize. I don't like to argue much. I don't like to argue much. I don't like to argue much. Philosophize freestyle battle rap. I'm gonna rap for the farmers, truckers, butchers, bakers, cooks, nurses, doctors, for those in warehouses. They're gonna rap. For those wearing steel-toe boots and those construction, that's a rap. No freestyle battle rap or dance. Have referees judge. Put on gloves and box in the ring. Just fight my own battles. That stated, I'm gonna be reading today from the Concise Dictionary of Politiks. I just want to wrap up my dream, the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, which is of course my dream, which I'm calling all to support in any way, shape, capacity, or form. Of course, the implementation of my trinity of theories known as CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, Debt Refusion Theory, DRT, Debt Refusion Theory, and Democratic Fusion Theory. That trinity of theories to be implemented by the fourth dimension. And that fourth dimension of that trinity is love, 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 and please with consent make love today. Tonight is the main message, and with consent during the whole duration of my reading XYZ, if somebody listens to this, a million, a billion deserves to listen to this, nobody watching, that's okay. And this is my business, and this is my passion, this is my philosophy, this is my art, this is who we are as being androgynous, pansexual, Adrian Hanna, Dragon, Adrian H, Dragonborn. Nothing that I want to go back to pre-COVID. My dream is the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. That is my dream, is the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. The dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which encompasses a philosophical, spiritual, artistic, ecological, everything of nature and civilization, from spirituality to psychology to sexuality to art to civilization to technology. Because in a parallel life I am a scientist where I design satellites. I'm a hybrid in a parallel life of Elon Musk, Sheryl Sandberg, Mark Zuckerberg, and Bill Gates. So in that parallel life I build satellites, supercomputers, microchips, smartphones, and telecommunications network, and I know everything about telecommunications and microchips. In that parallel life on radio, telecommunications, and satellites. In this life, I'm a philosopher, I'm an independent fitness captain, I'm a universal spiritual teaching student, I'm an independent athlete, independent artist, independent activist, AAA plus other dimensions who connected during COVID with that parallel self and gets headaches from that connection because he sends me documents of hundreds of thousands of millions of pages of science, innovation, and technology, everything from 1904 to 2000, and he's in the future. Discoveries, bless on the future, and I say, okay, you send me all these millions of pages on technology, satellites, supercomputers, microchips, and fiber optics, undersea cables, and all this smartphones, and I send them. I give my parallel self my workout. I say, okay, this is what I created in 2019 October in this timeline. He says, wow. He tries to do it. Says, I can't do it within the rules. I'm not that fit. I'm fit in the brain. I got a brain. Is everything about mathematics, science, chemistry, biology, everything scientific, technological innovation. And I give him the workout, and he says, oh, after a year, it's getting better. He's able to do it more and more. He says, oh, I'm getting fitter. I'm getting more muscular. It's been 2 years, more than 2 years that I'm at it. I say, well, I still get headaches while reading your scientific papers, but I'm getting better at comprehending Wi-Fi telecommunication, the internet, supercomputers, Google stuff, Apple stuff, Samsung stuff, NASA, NSA stuff, NASA, Starlink stuff. So every day is a connection. I still get some headaches sometimes, but my parallel self says I get sore. I got so sore from working out your exercise. So meaning that brains and muscle, it's requires brains and muscle is required for us to build civilization and to maintain civilization, to find solutions, because it's with solutions that we got to focus on. And I do firmly believe, with all the XYZs of my own nature, which I do admit I have lust, I'm not totally selfless, not totally just for my allies and armies and you. I want to have a good massage, have a good neck rub, have a good drink, a good wine, to have a good triple cheeseburger. Did I ever have a triple cheeseburger? Not sure. Something I never had. A good food from somewhere. XYZ. So many things to see. I want to drink a wine that I saw. It was $28.65, and it's a local wine from Quebec. I said, how come this is 3 times the price of the wine from France, the wine from Italy, the wine from Spain? The wine from Spain was $8.65. The wine from Italy was $9.30, and the wine from France was $9.10. So I added all those wines. It was even less than the 28.65. And the wine from here, local grown Quebec wine, was 28.65. We don't have that much wine, but we do make wine in Quebec. There's wineries in Quebec. So I said, I'm not going to be able to afford this wine. It's $28. I'm getting myself the cheapest, $8.35. I can get 3 bottles for that, because $8.35 is 8 times 3 is 24, and 35 cents is 95. So it comes to 25. So it's even less if I get 3 bottles of the Spain wine, of the Italy wine, or the wine from France. Paradox, paradox, paradox. And he crossed the ocean, right? On a big boat. But nonetheless, doing that meditation and being, meaning that I'm not totally selfless. I try to stay balanced in the harmony, what I can bring, I can offer to the table, and what you can offer to the table. Because while being mediocre, average at some things, I'm great at the best dancer, poet, rainbow dancing poet, combined poetry and dancer. I'm not perhaps not the best dancer, but when combined as a poet and as a dancer, I'm the best. Put me some mic, let me dance. Put me some music and let me poet up. Let me do a Donna. When I say God, I say goddess. When they say God, I say goddess. When I say God, I say goddess. It's a universal spiritual teaching student. Student. Universal spiritual teaching student. Meaning a universal spiritual teacher, but as a student, because looking at the mysteries of nature, I see the trees, which are the hairs on the goddess. They're 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times my size. So bigger than myself, was a piece of dust, dancing dust. Not who gets moody, gets upset, gets angry, likes this, likes that. Closed doors, knocks on doors, opportunities closed, lost economic, financial, commercial due to being LGBTQ, and that's why the Global Dragon Union, that I'm calling all unions to support, all pro-labor, is a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist. I got my 11 principles. Try to avoid the gossip, right? I have to go avoid the slander. Yeah, slander me dirty. I get dirty, but I get back clean. There's no problem to that. I get dirty, but I get back clean. There's no problem to that. I get dirty, but get back clean. There's no problem to that. I admit it. I'm not able to live the sword of freedom by my soul, or perhaps it's my anonymous sister helps. By second thought, she's able to lift the sword of freedom by herself. Right? As I deserve it, pop, pop, pop. Sometimes I like myself a BDSM switch. It's 12:04 p.m. here. As you may or may know, stock markets, they buy, sell, trade stocks, futures, options, puts, commodities, pork bellies, futures, options, buy, sell, trade, stock market, stock trade, buy, Wall Street, everybody got to eat. Black Hawk, Black Hawk, Black Hawk, Black Rock, Mr. Fing, Mr. Fing, Mr. Fing, the big, not that well known, not that well known, but it's the biggest asset management, assets under management, what's called AUM, assets under management, is in trillions. But I got more trillions. I got 718 trillions of kisses. That's 77 times the trillions that Black Rock has, Mr. Fink. Got more kisses. I ain't got money. Got $10,000 in debt to the RBC. But can make all my willing, loving allies and armies kiss millionaires. I'm not perfect. I fight my own battles. May I be avenged 93-fold. May I be avenged 93-fold. May I be avenged 93-fold. To life, L'Chaim. I'm gonna say gratitude, thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers, love you, kiss you, hug you, butchers, the farmers, everybody gotta eat. Somebody harvested this black coffee bean, just made from a berry, a red berry, and came to my possession, and I'm drinking it now to be able to read from this Dictionary of Politiks, which I'm gonna read on a second cup of coffee. Take a refill, but first I want to say my gratitude. I am grateful, thankful for today, October 18th, that my rent is paid in full. Fully paid my rent and my electricity bill. Have paid it in full. Fully paid my rent and my electricity bill. Have fully paid my rent and electricity bill. Like to say, I want a fresh start, as many want a fresh start. I'm Dragon Zero. I don't want to go back to nothing pre-COVID. If I haven't heard from you in 7 years, best forget about it. Forget about it. Bless me, bless you threefold. You bless me, show me love, I give you love sevenfold. Bless me, I bless you threefold. Show me love, I give you love sevenfold. You bless me, give me a kiss, I give you 7 back. Give me a hug, I give you 7 back. I don't turn the other cheek. I fight my own battles. If I offend anybody, if I trigger whatever, we can freestyle, battle, rap. We can put on tango, dancing shoes. We can dance, battle. We can freestyle, battle, rap, or we can, of course, philosophically discuss my theories, and you can interject constructive criticism, yes, with alternatives, yes. My policy, social media policy, straightforward and direct. show love or move along, or constructive criticism, constructive criticism, constructive criticism, show love or move along. I understand. I got toxicity within myself too. I gotta work out later today. Gonna get some of that toxicity out. Gonna get a little bit of sunshine, because it's good for the body, for the whole skin. For me, it's good, sunlight. And I admit I'm not without XYZ being rainbow. I'm in rainbow ways, sometimes in the moody with the black and white and the gray. In that rainbow, I interject, insert in my rainbow. There's black and white and gray. In my rainbow, there's black and white and gray. In my rainbow, there is black and white and gray. And within the sunshine, there is also the storminess and the storms of it, which I don't really mind that much. But I am for the greater good. But I am for the greater good. I am for the greater good, and while of course bettering and bringing impasse for my own self as well. I can bring some joy. If I can bring some joy to my allies and armies, pledge your allegiance in whatever way. Entertainment. I like to have a good laugh, to have a good comedy. I can do comedy and art. I do a lot of it in French. I am Quebecer. I'm a Quebecer, North American. I love the French language. I love the French language. I speak some Spanish as well. Some Spanish I've learned along the way. Some Spanish as well. So speak all the languages of North America. I write philosophy, poetry, of course, also in French. And I am from Montreal, Quebec. I am a North American. I firmly believe that my theory is first and foremost for the collective North American civilization. As a geopolitical analyst and theorist, my theory called the collective North American civilization, that we North American constitutes in North America, we constitute a collective civilization. Canada, US, Mexico, and I include a paradox of the inclusion of Cuba. It's a paradox. If you want to lecture a class just on my inclusion of Cuba in the sphere of the collective North American civilization, please feel free. Blah 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 blah. So commission, sponsor, whatever, a cup of coffee just on that aspect, maybe a half an hour, or an hour and a half on that subject, on that theme, the inclusion of Cuba. So of course, I include Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and Jamaica and the islands. I do include them in the sphere of the collective North American civilization. So my inclusions of the islands, Canada, US, Mexico on the continent, and my policy, of course, is pretty straightforward and direct. My Dragon Zero policy is pretty straightforward and direct. That we got two borders, two oceans, one border. We got two oceans, one border. We got two oceans, one border. We got that way to the east, which was the Atlantic and the Maritimes, the Atlantic and the Maritimes, the Atlantic and the Maritimes, Prince Edward Island, Prince Edward Island, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia. I love you, Nova Scotia. Let the recovery go, Nova Scotia. And I know all about recovery. Nova Scotia, Maritimes, Prince Edward Island, and Labrador, Newfoundland, that way on the east of Canada, the Maritimes and the Atlantic. When we say Atlantic, we include Newfoundland and Labrador. When we say Maritimes, we mean the three provinces of Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island, right? The east, Atlantic Canada, Maritime Canada, that way. And that way is, of course, British Columbia, Vancouver, of which it's 12:10 p.m. here. We got to subtract, because we got time zones. We got to subtract 3 hours, so it's 9:10 there in the west coast in British Columbia, Vancouver, and of course down the west coast in the USA, all the way to Washington State, to the state of Washington, Seattle, and of course San Francisco, California, and of course the Bay Area and Los Angeles in California. It's 9:10 because it's 3 hours difference, so it's 12:10 here on the East Coast in Hawk Island, Montreal. So there it's 9:10. So they're having their morning there. So I'm going to say a blessing. I'm grateful, thankful. I'm going to say thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers of the collective North American civilization, because everybody got to eat, even Wall Street. Farmers, butchers, bakers, truckers. Those truckers now on the roads across North America. How many? They're going east, west, north, south, right now. Dragon love you, big dragon hugs. If you're a trucker, farmer, butcher, baker, all involved in the production and distribution of food, because everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. You get free lifetime dragon hugs, and the electricity production as well. Hydro-Quebec, past, present, and future workers. That's why I got offers. Offer. You might say, no, I don't want nothing to do with the kisses, nothing to do with the hugs, nothing to do with the tickles, because that's what I got. Kisses, hugs, because I got some brain and muscle philosophy with that. But if you don't want any of that, say, hey, can you just give me a blessing, or say, rap, go farmers, go truckers, go farmers, dragon cheerleader for you, dragon cheerleader, go truckers, go butchers, go bakers, go cooks, go nurses, as the people's athlete and artist, as the people's athlete and artist, as the people's athlete and artist. Who's not perfect here from Hakala mantra with some rain and some muscle, and I'm calling all willing living to support the implementation of my Trinity theory, CIT citizen integration theory, debt refusion theory, and democratic fusion theory. That Trinity theory is to be implemented via the fourth dimension LOV. That Trinity theory is to be implemented via the fourth dimension LOV. CIT citizen integration theory, debt refusion theory, and democratic fusion theory, which I firmly believe in. Of course, first and foremost, the debt refusion theory, the DRT. Debt refusion theory is, of course, the taking all private and public debt, refusing it. So whatever the number is, if my debt, if X represents the private debt of private citizens such as myself, is I'm X1 and you are X2, taking all the debt, private and public, pardon, taking all the debt, private and public debt. My X, I'm $10,000 to the RBC, or 5,000 is 12,000, whatever it is. So all the X's, the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of X's across North America, refusing it, pegging it to the US dollar. So it would have to be a pegging, meaning a conversion to the US dollar. So all the debt, public and private, of the different countries. Canada has debt, and the trillions, United States and the trillions, Mexico, and NATO member countries, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization member countries, of course, NATO, and NATO, and of course my project Protocol Genesis 33, the Protocol Genesis 33, to include Israel, because goes after those story in the Bible, the twins, where they embraced and they kissed, the twins, they embraced and they kissed, the twins embraced and kissed in the story, the biblical story. So though it's a very modern approach, a very 21st century approach by my pro-universal revolutionary centrism and philosophies and theories, which I call for the implementation. It also, the name of the protocol Genesis 33 refers to that story of the twins where they embraced and they kissed in that story there. So that's why with NATO member countries, North America, this collective civilization of North America, Canada, US, Mexico, and beyond, and NATO, and of course with Israel. So we have to go for the conversion to see how is the conversion done. So the conversion from currencies, I mean, because of course Canadian dollar is not the equivalent at parity, it's not the same amount with the US dollar. There's a differential, meaning there's a differential in the exchange rate. The exchange rate fluctuates now. There's perhaps hundreds of thousands, I know tens of thousands, there's definitely hundreds of people now involved in the forex at different levels of XYZ capital involved in the foreign exchange. But I call for the implementation of my theory called the Debt Refusion Theory, the DRT, which although has complex dimensions, it was written over the past 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and with your students spend 1 foot in the libraries, 1 foot in the streets, 1 foot in the streets, 1 foot in the libraries, 1 foot in the streets, 1 foot in the libraries. Well acquainted with both, it became the people's philosopher and the people's doctor, and claimed and certified doctorate of the libraries by reading tens of thousands of books on all matters of civilization, sociology, economics, finance, and you name it, everything under the sun, of flora and the fauna. And of course I've also written tens of thousands of pages of philosophy, art, and poetry, and art. And these theories now given in the past weeks, months, and years during COVID, as I've orally given lectures about my Trinity theories, and this is the DRT. So the DRT, Debt Refusion Theory, in complementary. First and foremost, the DRT has to be implemented, and then to create the two complementary covenant of cooperative institutions by the Debt Refusion Theory, and then we can have democratic fusion theory applied, implemented, and the citizen integration theory implemented after we applied debt refusion theory. So debt refusion theory has to come first. So taking all private and public debt, my debt is $10,000. If I'm $10,000 in debt, he's 12,000. So I take all the numbers. So the Canadian dollars, let's see today, how much is the Canadian to US conversion today? So today, $1 is the equivalent of 73 cents US. $1 today is the equivalent of 73 cents. So that's $1 today is the equivalent of 73 cents today. That's the equivalent today. Now buy, sell, trade, forex, Mr. Soros. If you make me, you probably stop doing the currency, blah 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 blah. But still give 10% for the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, and for food security first, So this is the US dollar. The Canadian dollar is equivalent to only 73 cents. So it's not total equivalency. This is the printed series in 2009. So vice versa, the Canadian dollar to 73 cents US. Vice versa, $1. This US dollar is the equivalent of $1.38 Canadian. Is the equivalent of $1.38 Canadian. $1. So this US dollar printed in 2009 with a series there in Washington D.C. with Mr. Washington. I was an American twice in past lives. Just read George Patton's poem Through a Glass Darkly. Read George Patton's poem Through a Glass Darkly. Read George Patton's poem Through a Glass Darkly. You're gonna see I was an American twice in past lives. As a matter of fact, 156 years ago, that way, speaking to my brothers and sisters in the USA, hug like you never hugged before with consent is also the message for you from the dragon. That way. 156 years ago, 718 miles south of Hawk Island, yours truly served in the U.S. Army. Yours truly served in the U.S. Army. So there it is, the dollar, the dollar, the dollar. This dollar, US dollar, is the equivalent of $1.38 Canadian. Wow. So it appreciated. And conversely, the Canadian dollar depreciated, and vice versa. So it's one US dollar is $1.38 Canadian. Let's see the peso now. One Mexican peso hasn't changed this week. One Mexican peso is the equivalent of 5 cents US. One Mexican peso is the equivalent of 5 cents US. Only 5 cents US. One Mexican peso is the equivalent of 5 cents US. Vice versa. One US dollar, this US dollar, printed in 2009 series, is the equivalent of, oh, it appreciated again. It was lower. So it appreciated as a 14 UTC time, 14 UTC time, 14 UTC time. It appreciated. So one US dollar today is 20.04 Mexican pesos. So 20 pesos and 4 centavos, the Mexican peso cents, Mexican peso cents. So 20.04. So more than 20 Mexican peso. 20.04. One US dollar is 20.04 Mexican peso. So it appreciated. Because I believe last Friday when last checked, or Thursday, was 19.98. So the US dollar went up a bit, right? The US dollar. Now let's see for the euro, because NATO member countries mainly use the euro, although I believe some 5 or 6, even 6, use also the euro in parallel to what the currencies that they had prior. Not Germany. Germany got rid of the Deutsche Mark in the 90s, right? The France also, and Italy. And only a few countries. So euro depreciated a lot in the past weeks, months, and years during COVID. €1 is the equivalent of 98 US cents today. €1 is the equivalent of, it hasn't changed though in the past 10 days or so. It kind of remains static at this. €1 is the equivalent of 98 US cents, and vice versa. One US dollar, this dollar, is the equivalent of €1, €1 and 2 euro cents. One US dollar is the equivalent of €1 and 2 euro cents. So it's more than 1 for 1 now. 2 weeks ago it was 1 for 1. It was at what we call in finance at parity, parity. Parity, at parity. So one US dollar was the equivalent of one, is the equivalent today. It was 1 for 1 exactly 2 weeks ago and even 3 weeks ago. Now one US dollar, this US dollar is €1 and 2 euro cents. That's what it is today. So now let's see for Israeli new shekels. Israeli new shekels. Israeli new shekel. It hasn't changed the past week. One new Israeli shekel is the equivalent of 28 US cents. One new Israeli shekel, what's called the NIS. One new Israeli shekel is the equivalent of 28 US cents. And vice versa. So if one new Israeli shekel is the equivalent of 28 US cents, vice versa, it changed a bit. The difference was 3.52 yesterday. Now one US dollar appreciated by 1 cent, shekel cent. So today, 1 US dollar is the equivalent of 3.53 new Israeli shekels. So this dollar today now, it can change by the time that is later on today. It can fluctuate again. It fluctuates now, of course. Import, export, XYZ factors. 1 US dollars, this dollar, is the equivalent of 3.53 new Israeli shekels. 1 US dollar today is the equivalent of 3.53 new Israeli shekel. So this dollar today now gets this dollar printed in 2000. Doesn't matter what year was printed, but this one was 2009. So this dollar, US dollar, gets 3.53 new Israeli shekels. That's what the conversion rate is. So taking all the public and the private debt, whatever the number is, it's going to have to be converted to US dollar and create the UE. So the conversion, this is the debt refusion theory implemented, taking all debt of Canadians, public and private, of Canada as a state, of US, Mexico, and beyond, of course, NATO member countries, and part to my Genesis 33 protocol include Israel and beyond, Middle East, Africa, Central America, South America, and first and foremost, of course, throughout North America, the collective North American civilization, and to create this global currency, transnational currency, currency called the UE. The universe UE stands for Universal Exchange Unit. So it's the UE is U dot E dot U dot UE, colloquially known as the UE. UE, and converted all the currencies of the debt, public and private debt of the countries North America, of course Euro, and of course and beyond with Israel, then converting it, creating the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, Universal Exchange Unit, preferably by biometrics. Biometrics, that's why I'm calling on my work, my theories to be public-private partnership in everything. It's a public-private partnership. It's a PPP, public-private partnership. My dancing goddess and dragon kingdom dream, all my theories are of course fundamentally public and private partnership. All corporations and organizations and institutions, local, national, of course international. So debt refusion theory, I've orally given, I've lectured it before in the past days, weeks, and months. It's a lot during COVID. That's what I'm calling for, the implementation of my Trinity of theories, constructive criticism complemented with other alternative actions and alternatives, and XYZ, blah blah blah, tra blah 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 blah. Feel free, show love, or move along. Constructive criticism is welcome. Love is always welcome, because love is action. So create the UE, Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, preferably by biometrics. So like I said, the eye, the voice, and the eye are unique biometric identifiers. So the hand, the voice, and the eye are unique biometric identifiers. So creating the UE by debt refusion theory, the DRT, debt refusion theory. DRT stands for debt refusion theory. So all private and public debt, refuse it, whatever the number is. Whatever the number is in converted, because it will be pegged, has to be, to explain it, it will be pegged to the US dollar. So whatever the US dollar is when we have implemented this, and probably could do it public private partnership, all willing living citizens, and of course public and private institutions and organizations with all public security forces and organizations, east, west, north, south, throughout the collective North American civilization. And my policy protocol, everything for North America, is of course that we got one border, two oceans, one border, two oceans, one border, two oceans. And I firmly believe in this 21st century where we are geopolitically, with World War III knocking at our door, as I have predicted it, and after my analysis as a geopolitical analyst and theorist back in October 2019, as a philosopher, as a theorist, as everything that I am, an independent athlete, independent artist, independent activist. It was not perfect, far from it, and XYZ. As a matter of fact, I woke up a little bit moody this morning. I started doing things. I already felt much better, putting the coffee, cleaning the floor, and up the room, doing my bed, clean your room, millennials, I'm a millennial myself. But of course, in the private, so the public-private partnership, please, hygiene in public. Wash your hands with soap and water, hand sanitizer. We've got germs, bacteria, microbes out there. Sun is a beautiful shining. And workout, I encourage all to work out, train, exercise. Encourage all to work out, train, exercise. Encourage all to work out, train, exercise. Working out, training, exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. My medicine and therapy of choice. My medicine and therapy of choice. Working out, training, and exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. And that's what I'm calling for, the implementation of my Trinity of theories: CIT, citizen integration theory; DRT, debt refusion theory; and democratic fusion theory, the DFT, with via the fourth dimension to that Trinity of theories, via LOV. And love is also action, not just blah blah. Love is also action. Body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. And how do we invest in it? By working out, by training, and by exercising. By working out, by training, and by exercising, and by good hygiene. Myself, I substitute. I took a bath, a long bath during the weekend, during the Sabbath of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, which commences Friday at midnight and ends Sunday at after 3 p.m. So now is the regular week. I'm gonna work out, train, exercise, knock on some more doors, write some more emails for collaboration, participation, and cooperation, collaboration, and participation in my dream, and everything that I do as an independent athlete, independent artist, independent activist, AAA plus other dimensions, geopolitical analyst and theorist, philosopher, the world's greatest living dancing millennial rainbow poet with some brain and some muscle. And it's the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom is my business, my dream, which I'm presenting and calling all willing, loving, and I want to be that person. Although I do share a lot of my personal struggles or past sufferings or XYZ frustration, or say which I do have maybe on the daily. Less so. I'm no longer depressed. I've conquered depression, and I believe only some love and understanding. And sometimes these actions are a big hug, can be a good help. Sometimes with consent, with consent, with consent. Right now, I could use a good massage therapy session. I cannot afford it. Cannot afford it. Cannot afford it. It's probably what 100. I don't know what the prices is now, but before COVID, it was like $80 for half an hour. So, but nonetheless, that's why I call it for the Dragon Army to be for service and security in the 21st century, for service and security, and secure by the Dragon Army, the public-private partnership of the Dragon Army, officially titled the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, to be for service and security, for service and security, for service and security. Service with consent, hygiene, mutual understanding, and love. All services such as cleaning, cooking, helping with the children, taking them out for XYZ walks, for reading to the children, for of course giving the trucker because he's driving for 13 hours. After 7 hours, said I could use a good damn half an hour neck rub or 15 minutes back massage. Can a dragon support me, do me some good, do me some good? I said 1-800 Dragon Army number, 1-800 Dragon Army 1-800 number was supported by all public, private telecommunications corporations, supported by all private telecommunications corporations, Bell, and all the media, telecommunications, and private Dragon Army, public-private partnership. Yep, my 100 Dragon Army number. Can somebody meet me there? I'm going to be in this location, XYZ, with, of course, Starlink with Elon Musk, and all public and private institutions and organizations, the public security forces and armed forces of NATO, NORAD, and NATO and Dragon to be also with the NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB integrated to offer them to security and service. Services, not to, don't abuse my dragons and Dragon Army, Dragon Spitfire, don't abuse my dragons, Dragon Spitfire, don't abuse my, don't ask for 3 massages a day. I get one allocation and XYZ factors, whatever it is, and whatever it is, services with consent and hygiene. Imagination, XYZ, with consent and hygiene. Can somebody do this? Can somebody come, a dragon come help me with some cooking, and a dragon come help me with some cleaning, can do some cleaning, cooking with some XYZ, with some, and it could use a good goddamn dragon hug for 15 minutes. Cause a good dragon, we got you, bro. Oh, yeah, what up? Yeah. Dragon Army, all service, all security, all dancing, 21st century public-private partnership. Shit. So the Dragon Army, secure freedom, first and foremost across the collective North American civilization, and offers secure food, housing, and transport. Not doing meditation, the food, all the food from the farmers, production from the farming, across collective North American civilization, from all the farming, east, west, north, south, all the farming that's being produced now, and all the fast food, how many cheeseburgers are made now, how many coffees are being produced now, how many fries, how many salads, coffees, how many of those manufacturing, putting tuna by the hundreds, by the millions. Food is holy, sacred, and divine. Secure food, housing, and transport, public-private partnership with all Dragon Army, integrated with all existing public and private institutions and organizations, integrated with all public and private institutions and organizations, integrated with all public and private institutions and organizations. The Dragon Army to be the 21st century for security and service, secure food, housing, and transport. Secure food, housing, and transport. And beyond the ground is yours truly, Adrian Hanna Dragon, the androgynous pansexual founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. I get some privacy, but I go out to do XYZ services and secure food, housing, and transport. You can live stream it 24/7 on Facebook, Instagram, live stream it, webcams for new servers, Microsoft, Facebook, integrated with all Apple, Google, all private and public institutions and organizations across the North American collective civilization, east, west, north, south. And of course, first and foremost, apply the debt refusion theory, taking all private and public debt, refuse it, whatever debt it is. My debt is $10,000. If I'm $10,000, yours is whatever, taking all the excess, 100,000 means tens of millions across NORAD, North America, across Euro and beyond, Israel and all willing and loving allies and armies, taking and refusing it, and of course creating the UE. So whatever the amount is of all the public and the private debt, taking it, whatever the number is, convert it, the Canadian dollars into US dollars, the Canadian debt, all private and public Canadian debt, converted into US dollars, all Mexican private and public debt converted into US dollars, all NATO member countries of Euro, of which there are 28, of which there are 28, of which there are 28 member countries in Euro, so 28 member countries, all the private and the public debt, Israel, converted, all the public and the private debt, all the private and the public debt, converted into US dollars, and by that number finance the initial amount of the money supply, of which the money, the new currency, transnational global currency for a global central bank, international world financial system, and global universal financial system, to be called the UE, the UE, one UE to be equivalent of that amount whenever time, hopefully by November 7, when I'm calling for a 7-year implementation of my Trinity of Theories. November 7, I'm calling 7 implementation of my Trinity. November 7, I'm calling the 7-year implementation of my Trinity of Theories. The Universal Exchange Unit by biometrics, the hand, the voice, and the eye being unique biometric identifiers, and of course issue the money supply, whatever number is, and then 10% maximum on all loans to increase the money supply thereafter. So yours truly, that is the dream. And now we're gonna do some reading, but I'm gonna get another cup of coffee, and we're gonna get to reading, because I've did a lot of philosophizing, some art and some rock and roll with that, and now we're gonna go read from this Dictionary of Politiks. I'm gonna do some random readings, and we have here some reading to do, which we're gonna do today. We're gonna start where I opened the random, so we're gonna start with those pages. I'm gonna get a refill for the coffee. And we're gonna get some more coffee. Grateful, thankful for this cup of coffee to the farmers who harvested. Grateful, thankful for this cup of coffee for the farmers who harvested. Grateful, thankful for this cup of coffee for the farmers who harvested. And for the transportation, the truckers, the butchers, the bakers, all the farmers, all involved in the production and distribution of food, and those working in the cities, sanitation workers of the cities, in recycling. Thank you, love you, kissy. Those workers in recycling and compost, and of course garbage. Thank you for picking up the garbage yesterday. Here in Hawk Island, Montreal, we're gonna pick up the compost and the recycling. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you. So once again, we're gonna go on fast pace. We're gonna say the debt refusion theory, once again, to revise what I'm calling for, the debt refusion theory first, to be implemented ASAP, hopefully ASAP in the coming days and weeks. The debt refusion theory, taking all private and public debt, refusing it, my private debt, your private debt and public debt, public and private debt of Canada, all of it, whatever the number is, it's in the trillions. United States, well, United States is going to be that set number aside, because it's going to be converted into US dollars. So all the debt of Canada converted into whatever the US dollars. In Mexican debt, private and public, converted into US dollars. The 28 NATO member countries, 28 member NATO countries, 28 member NATO countries, and of course, my protocol Genesis 33, Israel and beyond, Central America, South America, Africa, Europe, the Middle East. With that number, converting that number to US dollars, and whatever the number is in US dollars, whatever the number is in US dollars, whatever the number is in US dollars, that will be the initial, all the debt, the private and the public debt. The US dollar is going to be kept that number, but the other currencies converted, the Canadian dollar, the euro, the Israeli new shekels, Mexican peso, converted all the debt into US dollars. So whatever the number is, it's in the trillions. It's going to be in the trillions. It's going to be in the trillions. probably close to what I got in kisses. $1 for a kiss, $1 for a kiss, $1 for a kiss, and convert it, and that will be the initial money supply for the global central bank, the international financial system, a new international financial system, a transnational economic, commercial, financial, economic, a global central bank, an international central bank, a worldwide central bank, or not perhaps, of course, with other countries, because we'll see where it goes if they want to have world peace, and whoever wills, whoever wills, whoever wills. Right here from Hawk Island, that's what my advocacy might call. Debt Refusion Theory, all public and private debt, refuse it, create the UE. The UE stands for Universal U dot E dot. U dot E dot U dot. The UE stands for Universal Exchange Unit, because fundamentally that's what this money is. It's a unit of exchange to buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, preferably by biometrics. The hand, the voice, and the eye are unique biometric identifiers, of which, of course, have within public-private partnership, calling on my astrological brother Bill Gates, calling on my astrological brother Bill Gates, calling on my astrological brother Bill Gates, and of course Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, and all private and public institutions and organizations to support my dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, to create the two complementary, covenant, and cooperative institutions, of which are officially titled the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force. Pardon me? Book? What book? Yeah, sure. I'm gonna take a look at it. Thank you. It has the cover missing. Thank you. I'm gonna take a look at it right now. Thanks. That was my anonymous system. Anonymous system. Anonymous system. Let's see what it is. Oh, take a look at it. Thanks. If not, we can donate it, right? Oh, let's see. So another book to read from. Could open at random. This volume is dedicated to blah blah. Professor of Philosophy, Emeritus Westmont College. Oh, it's missing the cover page, but that's okay. It's only the cover page that's missing. Philosophic Classics. Ancient Philosophy. Ancient Philosophy. Ancient Philosophy. Could be an interesting read. I've probably skipped over a lot of ancient philosophy in my many years of spending one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, where I've read tens of thousands of books on philosophy, art, poetry, civilization, sociology, and I've written also in parallel tens of thousands of pages on philosophical art, spirituality, and of course my Trinity of theories, which I'm now going in a oral transmission, orally transmitted my CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, Debt Refusion Theory, DRT, and of course the Democratic Fusion Theory, which I'm transmitting orally at this moment in time, and I've done so in the past days, weeks, and months, and I am calling for the implementation of my Trinity of theories. Yeah, this seems like an interesting one. Philosophical revisions of philosophic classics. Began tradition continued to begin philosophy began in 61 by graphical. Yeah, sure. Take a look at it. So we have Plato. Yeah, Plato. The Republic, just from the Republic, from Plato. Yeah, this ancient philosophy symposium. Plato, Phaedo, like my philosophy as a 21st century philosopher. I synthesize my philosophies, of course, that the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. How do I invest in the body? By working out, training, exercising. How do I invest in the body? Working out, training, exercising, and good hygiene, and of course, XYZ other factors, XYZ other factors. So, 21st century, I'm a modern philosopher myself. But so it's also always interesting to see and explore ancient philosophies and ancient ways of thinking as well, and see, of course, but I am with new ideas, and these new ideas and new philosophies and new theories. I believe that my own self have come to my own acceptance and my own coming out as an example of being androgynous, pansexual, being part of the LGBTQ community a few years ago, which is still continuing. And of course, there are people who come in Canada, come out of the closet today, Canada, somewhere in the United States, and that's another factor. I'm no longer bitter, upset, angry that I've lost economic, financial, commercial opportunity and commerce due to being LGBTQ and XYZ. And I'm open for business. I'm auctioning this black hoodie, black pants, and black socks. Could be an underground rapper. I could rap a little bit, rap. Rainbow Dragon rap. Got a big red rainbow dragon rap. yours truly. So the debt refusion theory to be implemented first. That's what I'm calling advocating for. Part of my dancing goddess and dragon kingdom's dream. My dream is the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which has philosophy and includes everything from philosophy, art, sociology, spirituality, even psychology, dimensions of psychological dimensions, social dimensions, XYZ dimensions, public and private partnership is fundamentally the essence of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which is my dream to, of course, to do and to call all, as I'm calling all willingly living allies and armies to support in any way, capacity, shape, or form, and to create the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions of the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragon Army, to be for security and service integrated with all existing public and private institutions and organizations, all public and private institutions and organizations, corporations and public security organizations, and apply the dragon philosophy. The body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. Encourage people to work out, train, exercise, and hygiene in public, hygiene in public, hygiene in public. And of course, the dancing goddess army, complementary to the dragon army, the dancing goddess army to be is officially called the International Integrated Dancing. Integrated, that will be an all gender, all ages, all sexual orientations, inclusive dance league, all ages, all sexual orientations, all ages, all sexual orientations, all ages, inclusive dance league, the dancing goddess army, to dance for pleasure. My favorite sport is dancing for pleasure and purpose, for the environment, environmental education and action to encourage people to do better recycling, to do better compost, to do better recycling and compost, and XYZ for attaining harmony between civilization and nature. That is the main purpose of the dancing goddess army. By doing and by education, because it requires to know what can be recycled, what cannot be recycled, what can be composted, what cannot be composted, what can harm the environment, what cannot, to clean the oceans, the roads, and the forests. Right, the oceans, the roads, and the forests. The oceans, the roads, and the forests. So the dancing goddess army, and to be integrated, we can have professional dancers and XYZ, but integrated, I'll be on all gender, all ages, more cooperative cooperation, and can be competitive dancing with competitive cooperation, right? And the dragon army to be for service and security, for security and service, secure food, housing, and transport, secure food, housing, and transport, secure food, housing, and transport. Now I'm meditating on the food, all the food across the collective North American civilization, all the transport across the collective North American civilization, all the housing across the collective North American civilization. Their XYZ means the houses, big buildings, residential buildings, food, highways, railroads, and of course food, east, west, north, south, tons, transported. Thank you, Levy Kiss, you farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, rail, freight trains, and transport. Thank you, love you, kiss you, all those hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe of truckers across the collective North American civilization. DRT, Debt Refusion Theory, taking all private and public debt of Canada, Mexico, and of course NATO member countries, 28 other member countries besides US and Canada and Israel, and taking all the private and the public debt, refuse it to the US dollar, whatever the number is in that amount, with that amount infuse to create a global central bank, a world central bank, an international central bank, and create the UE. UE stands for Universal Exchange Unit, preferably by biometrics, the hand, the voice, and the unique biometric identifiers. Dictionary of Politics. Dictionary of Politics. Let's do some reading. Electoral system. These are electoral system. Electoral system, any set of rules whereby the votes of citizens determine the selection of executives and of legislators. Electoral system may be categorized in several ways. The most useful is probably a three-way division into plurality, majoritarian, and proportional systems. For national elections, plurality systems are found only in Great Britain and some former British colonies, including the United States and India. Majoritarian systems are found in France and Australia for legislative elections, and in about half of countries with directly elected chief executives. There are many proportional systems in the democratic world. They differ widely and there is no agreed criterion whereby one may be judged better than another. Each family of systems has a number of distinctive features. Plurality systems tend to concentrate the vote on the two leading parties. See Duverid's law, except where they are concentrated regional parties. Majoritarian systems are appropriate for presidential elections since there is only one president who ought to have majority support, at least against the last rival left in the field. Therefore, systems such as alternative vote are justifiable though imperfect. However, using a majoritarian system to elect a legislator can lead to severe distortions. The number of parties elected under the proportional system is a function partly of the size of districts it employs. The more seats there are in each district, the more parties will tend to be represented, and partly of the underlying cleavages in the society. Mm. In the society. Elitism. E with an accent. Elitism. Elitism. The belief that government ought in principle always and everywhere to be confined to elites. Rarely a worked out doctrine in its own right, more often a piece of unexamined value judgment, or a view which follows from some more general argument in political philosophy. As, for example, in Plato's Republic. Interesting. And my anonymous sister, whom if I make a mean, I'm going to give her half. You were half of the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, half of the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, half of the dancing goddess in the Dragon. I have to pay my $10,000 in debt, but I won't have to if we have the Debt Refusion Theory applied ASAP, starting maybe next week on first week of November, ASAP by November 7th to 7 years program implementation ASAP. Yours truly. As it is 12:48 p.m. Please, if you make a million on the stock market today, buying, selling, trade, stocks, futures, options, puts, commodities, pork bellies, please, if you make a million profit on the stock market today, give 10% for food security, women's sports, LGBTQ sports, and for environmental, natural, plant a tree for every tree. So Plato's Republic principles. The belief that government is in practice confined to elites, 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 that following a maxim, M-A-X-I-M, a maxim, like a principle, a maxim, a principle, of Hume, H-U-M-E as a surname. Ought implies can. In other words, that there is no point in saying that government ought to be controlled by the people if in practice it cannot, and that we might just as well accept that we are bound to have anyhow. These views are especially associated with Moska, M-O-S-K-A, C-A, correction, C-A, surname, M-O-S-C-A, Moska, and with Pareto, P-A-R-E-T-O, in the early 20th century, and with Schumpeter, that's the surname, another surname, in mid-century. All three writers shade into elitism in sense one because they go on to produce normative justifications of rule by elites in a democracy. However, their earlier arguments do not, I'm not too familiar with the philosophers thereof, so however, their earlier arguments do not in themselves imply that if democratic control of the government were somehow achievable, it would be undesirable. The belief that government is in practice confined to elites, that this has often been justified by arguments from Plato or Schumpeter, but that this is undesirable because elite rule is in practice rule on behalf of the vested interests of usually economic elites. Interesting. Elites. Eminent domain. E-M-I-N-E-N-T-D-O-M-A-I-N. Eminent domain. The right of the state, on behalf of the public, to take private property without the owner's consent. The right of the state, on behalf of the public, to take private property without the owner's consent. The right of the state, on behalf of the public, to take private property without the owner's consent. The Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom is a public-private partnership to create the two complementary covenant institutions for Dragon secure food, housing, and transport in a collaboration with our fellow citizens, farmers, truckers, butchers, all public and private security forces of Canada, North America, and NORAD had food, housing, and transport. Coast to coast create the UE. So get the UE Universal Exchange Unit, The term remains in wide current use in American property law and planning because American arrangements are framed by our Republican constitutions informed by the writings of Locke, L-O-C-K-E, Locke. So that's a surname. Grotius, G-R-O-T-I-U-S, and Pufendorf. Pufendorf, that's another surname. And others who suggest that the state can and must take public property on occasions, but has an absolute duty to compensate the owner justly. Both the owner and the state's rights are said to be derived from natural law. The requirement for due process and just compensation are established by the Fifth Amendment. The arrangements for compulsory purchase are the functional equivalent of eminent domain in the United Kingdom, but the philosophical justifications and constitutional status are quite different from those in the United States. Both states must sometimes take land without the owner's consent. But in the United Kingdom, no specific right of eminent domain can exist, and nor is there any exercise right to compensation. Since Parliament is sovereign, it can naturally inter alia take land without compensation if it chooses to. In practice, the British Parliament has almost always established machinery to pay fair compensation to those whose land it has taken for public use. Interesting. It's interesting that we opened the pages. This is in part parallel relevant to my Trinity of theories, which are based on a public and private partnership, and of course of which I'm calling the DRT, Debt Refusion Theory, to be implemented first and foremost, Debt Refusion Theory, DRT, and then we can have the Citizen Integration Theory and the Democratic Theory. So DRT, Debt Refusion Theory, taking all private and public debt, whatever the number is, converted into US dollars, the Canadian debt, public and private, refuse it, Debt Refusion Theory, Debt Refusion Theory, Debt Refusion Theory, it's called DEBT as a debt, REFUSION, refusion, THEORY, Debt Refusion, refusion as in fusion, but refusion theory. So taking all the private and the public debt of Canadians, Mexico, NATO member countries outside of Canada, US, because there's 30 member NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization member countries. Please, Mr. Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, say your speeches, try to read less from a piece of paper. My brother, my brother, my brother. Got love for you, but let's go do some push-ups. Come on, how can we do some push-ups for NATO? I'm gonna rap for NATO a little bit. Or the Dragon Army NATO Summit, Dragon Army, Dragon NATO Summit, Dragon Zero NATO Summit, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Please say that you love it, love you, NATO. I hear you say 3 times, General Stolberg. This is not about love. I don't want nothing to do without it. With it. If it's not about love, love, I don't want nothing to do without it, man. Say to the NATO troops, make love tonight. Make love tonight. Make love tonight. So I would be saying to my armies, first and foremost, take it for public use. So please, Mr. Brother General, Secretary General of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, say, love you, NATO troops. Love you, NATO troops. Love you, NATO troops. If you ain't got love for NATO troops, then you best resign, motherfucker. Say LOV, love is action. Blah 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 tra la la. Love is also action. If you love me, I love you threefold back. Love you big dragon hugs, kisses, good push-ups, good squats, good hawks, good marching in steel-toe boots, good LOV of that FRE, free. So the debt refusion theory, taking all debt, private and public debt, the debt of Canadians coast to coast, Mexico, NATO member countries, 28 of which NATO member countries have 28, and of course my protocol, Genesis 33, Israel and beyond, Central America, South America, Middle East, Africa, my brothers and sisters in Africa, brothers and sisters in the Middle East, brothers and sisters in South America. Debt refusion theory, taking all private and public debt, create the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, public-private partnership, and of course to create by biometrics, the hand, the voice, and the eye are unique biometric identifiers, and of course create the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, the digital ID, or the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, digital ID, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, digital ID. Have debt refusion theory implemented first, and then CIT, citizen integration theory, to the dragon army and the dancing goddess armies, the complementary covenant and cooperative institutions. CIT, citizen integration theory, after we have the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom's armies, the dragon army and the dancing goddess army, to see for example, to encourage citizens and to go see how farming is done, how the dams here, one of the 63 dams here operate in Quebec, how it operates, how the, of course, the railways work, the railroads, and of course everything of farming, of civilization, theater, of the arts, of the crafts, of the schooling, of which I've got the educational protocols for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom educational protocols, which of course include more workout training programs, more exercising, working out, training, and exercising on a daily, maybe half an hour before lunch of free dancing plays on all genres of music, different classrooms to have different genres of music, rock and roll, rap, XYZ, trash metal, whatever, and half an hour after the lunch so that they can get their energies, at a level so that they can get their, as a youth, to channel their energies, and have dancing in the high school, even grades 1 to 6, and high school have every day half an hour and an hour, half an hour, and then another half an hour of free dancing. Of course, we have webcams everywhere, microphones and webcams and microphones and webcams. We have microphones and webcams so that we don't. We encourage our youth into physical activity and love and consent, and hygiene. Debt refusion theory, taking all private and public debt, creating the U in citizen integration theory. Once we have a post debt refusion theory, to have the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom on the ground. The International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragon Army, with the International Integrated Dance League, the Dancing Goddess Army, to of course encourage people in public hygiene and encourage people to work out, train, exercise, secure the three by the Dragon Army, the three essential elements of civilization: food, housing, and transport. Now I'm doing a meditation of all the transport, all the highways, all the truckers, love you, kiss you, hug your truckers across North America, on all the railways, the freight trains, the passenger trains from Hawkeye to Montreal. There's tens of thousands, hundreds of millions crossing the subways, east, west, north, south, across North America, the collective North American civilization, and all the tons of grains and potatoes and milk and all the rutabagas and the bananas and the oranges and the avocados, east, west, north, south, in all the grocery stores and the supermarkets, coast to coast, North America. We got one border, two oceans, one border, two oceans, one border, two oceans. So create the UE, a universal exchange unit, preferably by biometrics, the eye and the voice being unique biometric identifiers, and secure food, housing, and transport by the Dragon Army, and then offer the fourth dimension: services with consent and hygiene. All services, cleaning, cooking, so there's no abuse with the, of course, everything recorded, webcams, live stream, Dragon Army live stream, 24/7 webcasts, 24/7, so based on my philosophies, art and interjections and philosophies, and live stream and incorporated and integrated with Instagram. Dragon Army, Dancing Goddess Army, integrated with Instagram, Facebook, radio, telecommunications, east, west, north, south, across the collective North American civilization, NATO member countries, NORAD, NATO, and of course Genesis Protocol, Genesis 33, with Israel and beyond, Central America, South America, and Africa, and the Middle East. One last reading for today. We're gonna read, and this is where we opened today, the Empire, deriving from the Latin term imperator, IMPERATOR. For a supreme military and later political leader, empire came to mean a territorial realm over which exclusive authority was exercised by a single sovereign. Thus, the preamble of the English Act of Appeals 1533 justified denial of the right of subjects of the crown to appeal of courts outside the realm or territory of England. On the ground, however dubious, that this realm of England is an empire, and so had been accepted in the world, governed by one supreme head and king. The term soon came to be applied to the much more loosely controlled and heterogeneous heterogeneous domains of princes such as the Habsburg Emperor Charles V, even when his power was manifestly compromised and limited in many places, and most of all in the so-called Holy Roman Empire, Holy Roman Empire, from which he derived the title by the continuing privileges of church, lesser princes, cities, guilds, electors, and estates. Likewise, Queen Victoria adopted the style of Queen Empress in 1877, at precisely the moment when the addition of India and new African dependencies to her dominions led them to reassemble the ramshackle constitutional amalgams, amalgams of her Austrian and Russian cousins, more than the older English ideal of a continuous territory with a homogeneous population. Interesting. Homogeneous population. Thereafter, empire, empire, was generally taken to denote an extensive group of states, whether formed by colonization or conquest, subject to the authority of a metropolitan or state, imperial state. Even when, as in France or the USSR stands for Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, USSR, Union of Socialist Soviet Republics, USSR, the Soviet Union in other words. The dominant state became a republic lacking an emperor or empress at its head, in the later sense well established by the early years of the 20th century. Empire became closely associated with imperialism. And then the next page we have EMS, European Monetary System. Interesting enough, because we discussed the UE, my UE, which I'm calling for the implementation of my Debt Refusion Theory, to create the UE. So we're just going to read this. I'm going to read this page and wrap it up with the EMS, European Monetary System. The system in the European Union intended to stabilize exchange rates. So I believe my UE will, of course, bring a new order in the 21st century economic, financial, commercial order, a Universal Exchange Unit, UE, Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, Universal Exchange Unit, by having my DRT, Debt Refusion Theory, of course, implemented across NORAD first, North America, collective North American civilization first, and from NATO and Israel and beyond, South America, Central America, and Middle East, brothers and sisters in South America, Central America, in the Middle East and Africa. EMS, the system in the European Union intended to stabilize exchange rates between the currencies of member states using the exchange rate mechanism, ERM, and the balance of payment support process. European Union monetary cooperation was not specifically mentioned in the Treaty of Rome. Interesting. But it was recognized that if the internal market were to avoid competitive distortions linked to exchange rates volatility, and that's what I discussed, the exchange rates will have to exchange because the debt refusion theory will require the conversion of Canadian dollars. All the public and the private Canadian debt is in Canadian dollars, and the Mexican pesos is in Mexican pesos, and they, of course, euro. The 28 member nations of country, of course, Turkey has the lira because Turkey is part of NATO. Turkey, the country, Turkey now is the part of NATO, right? And it uses Turkish lira. Let's check. Let's close check because we haven't checked. How much is a Turkish lira? Israeli new shekels. We checked. Is a Turkish lira. The Turkish lira. One Turkish lira today is the equivalent of 0.54, so 5 cents US. One Turkish lira today is the equivalent of 5 cents US. I put a drop of coffee on this Dictionary of Politiks. It's okay, just one page. And vice versa, if one Turkish lira is the equivalent of 5 cents US and vice versa, let's see. Conversion. One US dollar, this US dollar, printed in 2009, is the equivalent of 18.59 Turkish lira. One US dollar is the equivalent of 18.59 Turkish lira today. And it's fluctuating. One US dollar is the equivalent of 18.59 Turkish lira. Interesting. Treaty of Rome, but it was recognized that if the internal market were to avoid competitive distortions linked to exchange rate volatility, monetary cooperation would become an issue. So this is, the UE is basically creating the Universal Exchange Unit. The UE stands for U.E.U. And of course, by debt refusion theory, whatever the number is, taking all the public and the private debt, that number in US dollars, because the UE will be the equivalent of the US dollar, because the US dollar is still the world trade and the global commerce, the unit for global commerce and international trade and worldwide business still, although it has challenges recently since 2007 from the yuan of China, the yuan of China, the yuan of China, and other. So the exchange unit, this cooperation would become an issue. This led to the Barr Report of 1969, the Werner Report Blueprint for Monetary Union of 1970, and the European Snake Exchange Rate System of 1971. Shake or snake? The Europe and the European snake. It's in the written in dots. See? So it's actually Monetary Union of 1970 and the European snake, like a SNAKE. Exchange rate system of 1971 is the first stage of the process to be completed by 1980. The exchange rate of 1971 is the first stage of the process to be completed by 1980. 1980. So this was the beginning of the euro, basically. This was the euro's beginnings, right? Because the euro was in the 90s established. In 1999, many countries adopted the euro. The euro adopted the euro. It's like I'm calling for the adoption and the creation of the EU Global Central Bank to issue the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, because fundamentally money, buy, sell, trade is to buy and sell, to buy and sell, to buy and sell. And I believe that this 21st century, where we are with the debt has grown as tremendous proportions, much unsustainable debt, and of course, to set up the interest as maximum principal. My principal is maximum 10% interest on all loans. Myself, I'm paying on the 10,000 the more interest that I ever paid due to the Bank of Canada, Central Bank of Canada, hiking the rate by 100 basis points, which is basically 1%. The highest in more than 22 years. Since August 1998, the Bank of Canada has now raised it by 1 full percent. It was like more than 22 years, but now it's been raised again. So the majority of people are even more burdened with more interest, with additional interest, myself included, with additional interest payments, myself included with additional interest payments, myself included with additional payments. Snake exchange rate system of 1971 is the first stage of the process to be completed by 1980. The snake died prematurely in the collapse of the Bretton Woods gold dollar system. The Commission sponsored renewed efforts in 1977, unexpectedly supported by Germany and France, and leading to the EMS Agreement of March 1979, with Britain remaining outside. The EMS consisted first of the exchange rate mechanism earmarked fixing currency parities to plus and minus 2.25% in relation to the ECU European Currency Unit, the ECU European Currency Unit, the ECU European Currency Unit. Weaker currencies such as the lira were allowed to float or maintain wider parities of plus and minus 6%. There was also a commitment to enhance economic policy convergence, a cooperation agreement amongst central banks to intervene to support currency parities, and an agreement to establish the European Monetary Fund, EMF, of common foreign exchange reserves by 1985. While the latter was never implemented, the ERM central bank cooperation proved quite successful. Once currencies approached 75% of their allowable upward or downward fluctuation, the central banks concerned were obliged to intervene to support the parity on the markets. An adjustment of parities could occur, but only with the agreement of all members of the system. Parity adjustment was frequent in the early 1980s, but by 1985, stability, return, and agreement emerged on the need for further monetary integration. Basically, also my UE is a form of monetary integration. My UE proposal is a form of monetary integration, but taking into account that we have debt refusion supersedes monetary integration, and it includes the refusing of the public and the private debt. My theory, DRT, Debt Refusion Theory. And Single Market Program, Stability, Return, and Agreement emerged on the need for further monetary integration as the Single Market Program, SMP, the Single Market Program. By 1985, Stability, Return, and Agreement emerged on the need for further monetary integration, which my Debt Refusion Theory is also a step further, but with the realities that we're faced today, World War III, and of course inflation, which has risen and has risen now as we speak, with millions of families being able to be for feeding, and of course our crises of the economic, financial, commercial, and all the crises that we have been, and we're trying to recover, as I'm calling all, to support the implementation of my trinity of theories, the Debt Refusion Theory with the CIT and the Democratic Fusion Theory. The 1985 Stability, Return, and Agreement emerged on the need for further monetary integration. The Single Market Program became a reality. The Delors Report on Economic and Monetary Union, 1985. 1989. The Delors Report on Economic and Monetary Union, 1989, eventually became enshrined in the Maastricht is a place in Belgium, right? Belgium, or Holland, Maastricht. Let's see. Maastricht. I have a doubt. Is it in Belgium or is it in Holland? I believe it's in Belgium, but could be in Holland. Maastricht. Let's see. Netherlands. The European Union is in Brussels. So I said Belgium. Belgium is in Brussels. The European Union headquarters is in Belgium. But Maastricht is in Holland. Rome there in a past life. Maastricht Treaty, for which the EMS, meaning the European Monetary System, was seen as an essential building block, and for the UE, my astrological brother, love you, kiss you, hug you, big dragon hugs, but you already got your pay. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, love you, kiss you, hug you, already got your pay. Facebook, calling on public and private partnership for the UE, all governments, institutions, organizations, collective North American civilization, and Euro, and of course in Israel, and beyond, of course, and public-private partnership, all corporation organizations and banking institutions and financial institutions to support the Debt Refusion Theory, BlackRock, Mr. Fink, BlackRock, the DRT, Debt Refusion Theory, to create the UE, and of course the building blocks which we have today, all the 3G networks, 4G network, 5G, the Instagram, the Facebook, the telecommunications, and of course all governments and corporation institutions, all these building blocks. So my Debt Refusion Theory on these building blocks, and my philosophies to move post-COVID or post-COVID economic, social, financial, spiritual, commercial, political, and social, and educational, philosophic world for pleasure and purpose to attain harmony between nature and civilization. EMS, an essential building block, despite the clear success of the EMS, with even the UK participating by 1991. Economic recession in the early 1990s and the turmoil of German reunification conspired to destabilize the ERM, European Monetary, the ERM, meaning the exchange rate mechanism. You got the ERM, exchange rate mechanism, and you got the EMS, the European Monetary System. Building block. Britain and Italy were forced to withdraw in September 1992, with Spain and Portugal devaluing, D-E-V-A-L-U-I-N-G, devaluing, and by July 1993, ERM parities, pardon? What's the interest rate on that? My sister laughs. My policy is 10% maximum after we have DRT, Debt Refusion Theory. And ERM, devaluating parities were allowed to fluctuate up to 15%. Essentially, a flow would put the system on hold until more opportunities. And with that, we're going to wrap up this reading lecture education, because I'm going to knock on some more doors for more opportunities for cooperation. I'm going to knock on some more doors for cooperation, opportunity for an artist, activist, athlete. I'm going to put it on Facebook and never delete.